I've had a lot of my subscribers reach out to me recently about their struggles with sobriety, and it weighs heavy on my mind. I've lost a lot of associates and friends to addiction, all walks of life, all races, ages, shapes, and sizes, and they all had drug addictions for different reasons. And it's all from unhealed trauma, a lot of it from childhood trauma. What a lot of people don't understand is that staying sober, getting sober, being sober starts with the mind. We are trying to numb out emotions that we don't know how to deal with. You know, I remember my daughter asked me why I use drugs, and the first thing I said to her was to find God. When I would be high off heroin or cocaine or crack or anything, there was this warmth, this dark warmth, kind of what I felt when I was put under for my surgery. It's like being in space. It's dark, it's warm, there's this frequency, this voice of singing, and it feels like being in a womb. And it was safe there. There was no pain there. And I felt like maybe that's what it feels like to pass over. Maybe that's the space right before you're born, right after you die. It was a darkness, but there were stars everywhere. It was just very warm. And like I said, I felt that same feeling when they put me under for my surgeries. And there was no judgment there, no stress, nothing. And that's where I wanted to be. And that's why it's so hard to get off of drugs. Who wants to leave that? Who wants to leave that warmth, that rapture? Especially when you're suffering. I had to realize that there are some people in this world who do not know kindness. They've never been shown kindness. They don't have support systems. They don't have people that love them. How are they supposed to get off drugs? How are they supposed to have passion? How are they supposed to live and move forward? I heard a quote one time that said, if no one loves you, you don't exist. Do you think that's true? It struck me. I couldn't even breathe when I heard that. I think about it a lot. I sacrificed everything and everyone except for my children to become sober and stay sober. I had to change my environment. I had to change my mindset. I changed my career. I changed everything. Even the way that I looked. I completely started over. And you have to ask yourself what you're willing to give up to gain yourself, to gain control of your life and your mind. The only thing I had for a long time was a relationship with my higher power and my kids. That's it. And that's how it is now, honestly. I really did cut everybody off because at the end of the day, they weren't working on themselves. There was some level of toxicity to every relationship that I had outside of my children. So why was I holding on to those relationships? We are not bound to family and friends and associates. We're not. Just because you share blood with someone does not mean that they are part of your family spiritually or that you are supposed to stay connected to them. And that's a harsh truth. Look at nature. If you're ever confused about what moves you're supposed to make or how you can handle a situation, look at nature. There are a lot of animals who, once they give birth, they step off. That animal, that baby, is on its own from the very beginning. Not everybody has an emotional connection to their family. So some people have never been loved and never known kindness. So then you look at your life and the people that you have in it, and you realize that these people are toxic. They're toxic. They pick up the phone to tell you about their woes and their problems, to trauma dump. I'm not here for that. I'm here to heal and learn and expand. I have my own children to pour into. I don't have the energy for these succubuses to take from me. Sobriety requires sacrifice. What are you willing to give up? Are you scared? Don't be scared. I think, overdosing in a corner in a crack house by yourself is a little more scary than cutting off everybody that you've ever known. Because those relationships have gotten you to this point. And if you are at the point where you are a drug addict looking for sobriety, feeling alone, hopeless, then those relationships are not benefiting you anyway. You're not losing anything by letting them go. One thing I can tell you about life is that a space will always be filled. You ask, you will receive. Very true. But it's science. If there's a space that life can fill, it's going to fill it. Don't you see in the inner city where there's like no greenery, in the little cracks between the cement, what do you see? You see growth. You see plants, right? Life is going life if you give it an opportunity and a space and support. Your life is worth any sacrifice that you have to make. Why are you holding on to relationships that do not serve you? Why do you keep pouring more into people than they pour into you? You gotta let them go, friend, and put yourself first. Sobriety requires sacrifice.